Welcome to Book Club for Movies. Whatever this ends up being, whatever I'm recording right now, I'm going to deem as episode 0 in my series. And this is what is going to be called Book Club for Movies. Now, the reason why I've decided to call this program Book Club for Movies is even though that title is a mouthful, this will allow me to get across to anybody what I am trying to do on this channel. I'm trying to make a book club for movies. I'll come in once a week, hopefully, eventually, and talk to you all about the movies that I've seen recently. Because some people are slowly but surely discovering physical media and its benefits. First thing is that you get to watch the content on your own time. I'm out of step with a lot of people my age when it comes to what they're watching. Because I will tell you, first and foremost, I do not stream my movies. But we live in an era now where movies get made and they can cost hundreds of millions of dollars, and they'll get released onto a streaming service. And then depending on how the cards fall, that movie might get deleted. That movie might get erased. That movie might live on that service forever. And because it's there, it's lost its luster. It's lost its, moviness. For a movie to be a movie for me, I need to hold it in my hands. I need to look at it. I need to, I need to be sold on it. I'm not the biggest fan of Netflix in general, because I don't believe in things like the Netflix top 10. Because somebody will say, well, this movie has to be good. It's been seen by so many people that it's in the Netflix top 10. But I'm thinking, well, Netflix put it on the front page. They know how many people are going to click on there just from a pure numbers game, so it doesn't matter. Remember when Bird Box came out? And they said that Bird Box was the most watched film, essentially, of all time? Forget Avatar's cultural impact. Outside of that dumb Bird Box challenge, who even remembers that Bird Box came out? A movie with John Malkovich and Machine Gun Kelly in its supporting cast. That happened. Another reason why I'm not the biggest fan of streaming services is how often their prices go up and how almost in an instant they can change their terms of service. I mean, Peacock went up by 60% overnight, and Amazon decided to add ads to everything. They shut down Freevee. Freevee was an amazing service. It was free. The thing with television is we are used to getting advertisements. That's how we got television. But now I need to pay to access all of these services. And now I'm paying to be advertised to. And I don't like that. And then in order to not get an ad every 2 to 3 minutes, it feels like, depending on the show and the service, Lord forbid a feature film, you have to pay an abhorrently high fee to not get ads. I don't like that. I like, the free things have ads. If I'm paying for it, it shouldn't have ads. And that's one of the reasons why I'm weird. I'll be the first to tell you, there's not that many people like me. I'm a weirdo. Now, one of the reasons why I'm so odd is because I like the Blu-ray experience. I'm here for the whole thing. I love holding the movie in my hand, I like putting it in the player, I like closing it, and I like seeing what the disc has for me. If I'm lucky, there are trailers. Because I love nothing more than to grab a decades-old Blu-ray, put it in, and then see what trailers were they playing at the time this movie came out. Sometimes it's how you discover new movies. I like the whole experience. I like having the movie, I looked at it, I picked it up at the store, I like looking at it, I like the movie itself selling me on it. When you're somebody who says, everything I watch, I'm gonna watch physically, you have to put a lot of barriers in place, or you're never going to be happy. One of those things is what I like to call the film fan's conundrum, which is you're never gonna see them all. It doesn't matter how many movies are on your watch list. It doesn't matter how many movies you see in a year, because you're not gonna be able to see them all. I've had thousands of movies on a watch list at one time. And that's why you almost have to limit yourself. If I go to eBay and I go to Amazon, I have access to every movie that's ever been put in print. And that can get pretty expensive, and that can take up a lot of space. What I would call what I have is not a collection, because a collection inherently has value. What I have is what I like to call a living library. It's not set in stone. Things change, titles come in, they sit there for a while in some cases, and then eventually, if they didn't thrill me, they go out the door. Whenever I see a movie, I'll come to you and I'll say, guys, this is what I watched this week. And I'm going to give you the full review. When I put the disc in, did I have any trailers? Have I seen the movies it's advertising? Did I not have trailers? What were the special features? What did I spend on the movie? Would I recommend keeping it in my collection? Or am I going to circulate the disc? Because I know somebody, when they go to McKay's, in their mental shortlist, is saying, oh, but if they have King Ralph today. Now, how do they come in and how do they come out? Well, I'll be the first to tell you one of the reasons I get to enjoy this hobby so much. I live in an area where we have McKay's. Now, McKay's it's an odd place. I'll be the first to tell you. It's an odd place. They sell used movies, they sell used books, records, children's toys, video games, magic cards, comic books. They sell it all. It's very, very seldom I bring something to them and they don't take it. They've got too many copies of this one movie. They don't take it. But they still have 7 of them on the shelf. Don't worry about that. Now, because I have McKay's in my area, they allow me to really indulge in this hobby. You know, even for a used, forgotten about movie on Amazon, that still might cost $7 at the end of the day. And that $7 of real world money adds up. Which is one of the reasons why I love McKay's. Because McKay's is a trade credit establishment. Which means whatever I bring in gives me trade credit. If I haven't been there in a while, my pile that I'm bringing in is going to be a little high. And then whatever this pile brings me is my budget for that trip. But I will tell you personally, their pricing has scaled with the times recently. And I think they're trying to push out their bulk DVDs because they have the bargain section, which is what I call no man's land, where they have their most common, traded in films that can be there. And there's no movie there that is more than $4. So if I'm in the rest of the store, when I'm taking my laps around the media section, I'm a little pick and choose. I do passes. I go, maybe, or oh, absolutely, or if I've got enough trade credit. But when I get to the no man's land, it is, if I am remotely interested in seeing it, it goes in the cart. Occasionally you'll find something at McKay's, and it will be more expensive than you can currently find it new on Amazon. I don't spend actual money there. You know, I might overspend at McKay's on that item. I call it the right here, right now pricing. Because when you buy something on Amazon, especially if we're talking about used media, you get it home, it comes in the mail, you look at the disc and you go, well, I hope this plays. Whereas if I'm at McKay's, I've got trade credit, more often than not, covers my entire trip. But I can also look at each individual disc as I take it off the shelf. I'm not somebody who says, well, for me to see this movie, I need to see the Criterion version of it, or I'm gonna wait for one of the boutiques to put it out. If I love the movie, if it's one of my favorites, I've got no problem squirreling some money away, waiting for a sale, and then buying the boutique release of the film. But I don't know if I like the movie yet. And for some movies, the standard release may be fine. I'll tell you, I did feel targeted though, recently, when I was watching one of my favorite channels, Red Letter Media, and Mike started throwing shade at people who pick up movies from the library. I am one of those people who picks up movies from the library. And Jay is right. What about those movies that never come to the format? I never get to see them. You have to put blinders on, because you're never going to see every movie. You're never going to see every movie. And I've got hundreds of movies that I'd like to see, and about 100 are currently in my house, and I haven't gotten to them yet. Another reason why I love physical media is I have this movie in my hands, and unless somebody breaks in that door and takes it, I'm in charge. I decide when I'm gonna watch it, I decide how I'm gonna watch it, and I decide at that point if I want to keep it or not. I've got Movies Anywhere. I've never used it. I've never bought any movie for Movies Anywhere. Everything I've gotten is because I've gotten a movie like this from McKay's, I've opened it, and I've taken the code out, and the code worked. Another reason why I love having this in my hand is, again, I'm in full control. What I can do is I can take this movie and I can copy it over to my computer. I have the means. I can take this movie, I can copy it over to my computer, and then I can put it on any of my devices as I please. There are some movies that are not available digitally anywhere, not even just your particular service. But we also live in the age where when you purchase something digitally, you're not purchasing anything. All you're doing is signing away that $5.99, $6.99, $25.99 in hopes that somebody doesn't alter the deal down the road. You know, people change their minds all the time. Remember just a couple years back when Sony was going to, when Discovery was removing all of that purchase content from the PlayStation Store as a part of that awful Warner Brothers Discovery merger? And how much stink that caused for them to delay it a little bit. I think it might still be delayed. But you got other players. Microsoft just decided to close their digital store for films. You know, it's connected to Movies Anywhere. But what happens when one of these places goes down? Does that pull the rest of its library from it? Does that then just change the deal? So many movies I own can only be watched on Vudu. Can only be watched on Vudu, now known as Fandango at Home. I'd much rather have it in my hands because I know this is mine. I'm the only one that decides when we're gonna watch that. Another thing about film is while this is in my hands, nobody can make any alterations to it. We have too many creatives working in Hollywood now that know that they can make changes to movies well after they happen. Don't forget how George Lucas opened the special edition VHS for Star Wars.
At some point, a famous filmmaker said, films are never completed, they're only abandoned. And rather than living with my abandoned movie, I really wanted to go back and complete it.
You know, what's stopping a movie with a canceled actor this day and age with, you know, technology's only going to get better? What changes if they just want to, you know, erase somebody from this movie and put somebody else in their place? You know? Did you all see that headline a couple months back from Lionsgate that says they're going to now use AI to better edit their films? Now they're talking about current films, but it only takes one bean counter to go, all of those R-rated films from our heyday. What if we feed that into an AI and then we say make it PG-13? And then we can sell it back to the people. You know, nobody wants to see the edited for television cuts to begin with. But in this current age, that might be the only cut of the movie that we can access. I love holding the movie in my hand. I love the experience that brings me. I love the communal experience of home cinema. I love it. I love it so much. I love the happiness of sharing a meal with friends while a movie plays. I love the discussions during and after. One of the worst things that can happen to physical media is somebody puts out a weird release for your shelf. I've got something that's borderline The Simpsons. That Simpsons season, I believe was it season 6? Season 6 of Homer's face that doesn't fit right on your shelf. Have you all met the Gumby movie? The Gumby movie is available on Blu-ray in one release only, where you get Gumby's head made out of plastic, and the disc is sandwiched in here on a cardboard sleeve cut to fit Gumby's head. And then you have to hope that the plastic still lines back up. This is a horrible way to release a film. But when I decide that I want to watch the Gumby movie, I've got it here. And I'll never forget that I own the Gumby movie, because this is staring at me from my shelf. But yeah, you guys familiar with the James Bond photo album? I would put this as one of the worst ways to have a movie, because first thing, this does not fit on your shelf. If this put this on my shelf, it's gonna make me kick it every single day. But it literally is designed like a family photo album. Like someday someone's gonna say, "What's Gray up to?" And they're gonna think I'm flipping through, you know, family memories. And here I am flipping through the Roger Moore era. It's a horrible, horrible way to do this. Just random pictures from the movies. Thankfully, when I bought this used, because I used to have this, it's another thing, as somebody who loves physical media, you find yourself rebuying a lot of things that you sold in your youth. I had this when it came out in 2012. I'd say thankfully, they thought a little ahead, because this is celebrating the first 50 years of Bond, but Skyfall had just come out in theaters. So they left an empty slot for Skyfall. They actually had a paper disc here. When I bought this used in New York City at a really good price, this suddenly cost me like $35. Whoever had traded this in had the actual disc. I know I've heard stories and I've seen pictures on like Reddit where people have bought this collection or have bought Skyfall and gotten the paper disc. But the problem is, with any time you decide you're buying a franchise collection, you buy a box set is never complete. Unless the franchise is dead, completely dead. No one's doing anything with it. Here's the first 50 years of Bond, and there's 2 more movies not in here. That's not even true. There are 3 movies not in here. Because of course there's Spectre, there's No Time to Die, which I still need to see, and then they do not include Never Say Never Again. This is going to lead me to when I talk about imports. I'm going to show you all firsthand experience of what's it like to import a movie. The do's and don'ts. Because a region-free player is 3 times the cost of the player itself. And unless you just don't want to have to worry about anything, you've got other ways of accessing those movies. Like I said, I'm still figuring out what it is that this is going to be. But I really hope you join me for the ride. You can't start at the finish line. You have to start at the beginning. And if you're with me now, you're here at the beginning. I'm staring down 30, and I didn't get anything done creatively in the last 10 years of my life. And I don't want another 10 years to go by and know that I didn't do something creative. Thank you for joining me. I have to feed the cat. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Watch more movies, people. Watch more movies.